Maybe I'll just turn the mic off instead.
I don't know about that. Yeah. Okay, we're recording. So, yeah, hello and welcome to our first Q&A. So this is really like an open-ended session, and it's just for whatever questions you would like to ask, or any features you'd like us to go through at all. And by the way, Catherine, you can have your dedicated time as well, seeing as you've got a branded platform. You know that.
Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, far away.
So we, as you know, are very new to the platform. We haven't really got ourselves going. So my questions are really around getting us launched, so putting us out into the world. First of all, we currently have a donate button, which is linked to another organisation, CAF Donate. And I'd like some recommendations on transitioning that, and whether or not I switch off one and switch the other one on, or whether I can run them concurrently for a while. That would be really helpful for me.
Okay, all right.
Through this process.
Okay, I'll go through that. And by the way, the fundraising accelerator will go through all that as well.
Yes, but we're kind of doing that after the fact in so many ways.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I'll share my screen, and my screen shares over here. So I'm going to be looking over here.
Thank you.
And I'll go through your platform. Right, share screen. And Caroline, by the way, so what we're talking about here, we're talking about a branded version of People's Fundraising for Catherine. So they have People's Fundraising, but it's for the foster care charities. Everything about it is foster care branding, which is really quite nice.
We don't actually have we don't really have branding. I work for a special needs school, and part of my role as fundraiser is I manage the PTFA. So they've got I set up their page, which I found quite tricky. I'm not going to lie. I'm not very techie. So this is going to be very helpful.
Okay, good. All right, good. All right. So Catherine, going to your question. So one of the key things is how you now present what you're doing in fundraising. Okay. Yes. And we always differentiate between individuals, community, and companies. Okay. Now your website is very individual based. Okay, so to your point, you've got the donate button, and yes, one of the things we will recommend is you'd swap this out for your branded donate page. And again, this is just an example donate page we've set up for you, so it can be whatever you want it to be. But again, the key thing here is, instead of the generic CAF look and feel, you've now got the foster care charity continuity and look and feel. Okay.
So I will literally put the new link into the button, and it will go seamlessly into this page.
That's correct. Yeah. That's correct. So that's it. The integration is very straightforward. You're not integrating anything into the website at all. You're just swapping out the link behind this button to, instead of going to here, which again, it's CAF orientated.
Yes.
You're now going to here, which is absolutely foster care charity orientated.
Yes.
Okay. Right. The other thing is, again, how you're going to present this to your individuals, communities, and companies. Okay. So get involved. So you got your get involved button. Okay. So
that's not going to the right place. I'm not sure.
No, it's not going to the right place. Is this going to the right place? Okay.
That should be the right one.
Right. So one of the biggest differences now is that you present this to individuals in very much a way of, you can do your own fundraiser. That's the cake bake marathon run style of fundraising. And if you look at your fundraising platform, yes, you have that style of fundraising here, and that's the fundraisers. But now you can communicate and out to your individuals, communities, and companies that, yes, they can do the cake bake marathon run, but they can now do all of these other things as well. Okay, and so that's really phraseology on your website. So here now is, yes, you can do, in memory. Yes, you can do your cake bake marathon run, and click here, and you would click here maybe to either go to a specific campaign, or you would just say set up a fundraising page or set up a raffle page. And so therefore you'll be updating this type of page to talk about all the different things that can now be done. Okay.
Yeah. So
now,
I can use this as a lead-in page, but we also have a lead-in page within the platform, don't we?
That's right. On the platform, you have a couple of generic pages. You've got the hub page.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the hub page shows all of the different types of fundraisers that me as an individual or a community or a company can set up to support you. And for example, if I'm a local company and I want to set up a raffle, I can come here, click create a page, and not only can I set up a raffle as a company, but I can also set up a raffle for one of your identified campaigns. And so we also say as well, become campaign focused. So the more campaign focused you are, the more engagement you'll get, because yes, it's one thing fundraising for the foster care charity. It's another thing fundraising for a specific area within foster care charities. So that's it. That's what you want to do. And it's going to be interesting for you to understand what your different campaigns are. And I think, for example, one of the things I've always been saying is create a campaign for each of the locations. You know, I mean, that's a really good start, but it can be anything. And so then the hub also shows all the different types of fundraisers that you and your supporters have set up as well, if they don't want to set up a page. So essentially it's an all-in-one page, which is quite nice. Okay. And if you look at another branded platform that have been using us for a little bit of time, again, it's exactly the same page, different look and feel, you know, more campaigns. But then when you look at the content, it's really quite easy. You know, they've got shops. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, they've got shops and auctions and fundraisers and campaigns and raffles and teams and donation pages and whatnot and membership. So it's really quite an interesting launch page. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the second launch page is the fundraising wall. By the way, Caroline, hopefully this is of use and interest to yourself as well. So the fundraising wall is a very similar type of page, but it's essentially it's in a different format. So the previous page, it answered the question, I'm a fundraiser, what sort of page can I set up? And it takes you through that. This page essentially answers the question, what sort of fundraisers are going on at the moment? And then it presents the pages in a chronological order, and then people can engage with them. So if you look at We Are Beams as an example, and we go to their wall, then again, it's showing all the different pages in a chronological order.
Yeah. Okay, that's very helpful.
Okay. Now, the last generic page you've got is also Find a Fundraiser as well. And it's quite interesting, this, because, if one of your supporters wants to find a fundraiser, they can either go to the hub, the wall, or they can go to this specific page, and then they can search for a fundraiser and interact. So therefore, the structure of your website, well, not the structure, but the content behind things like Gets Involved now changes. It becomes more rich. It becomes more rich because you've got more underlying tools, but it becomes more rich because you're now expressing everything in terms of campaigns.
Yes.
As well.
And there's not a drop-down menu. So when we click Get Involved, we're into a totally different, because it's housed in the platform. There's not any cues for anybody who might be doing a menu search here. It's straight into the new menu, I suppose, once you're inside the
That's right. That's right. Now, so with that said, I still would differentiate between individual communities and companies. So again, we've been very focused on the individuals at the moment.
Yeah.
Whereas remember, with companies and communities, there's a different value exchange. So companies, they're just looking for something different. Whereas individuals, they give their own time and energy to support the charity. Companies want something in return. And so this is where we think, for example, just say when it comes to memberships, you can create a membership page for companies, and then on that membership page describe all the different types of value exchange that a company can get involved in. In actual fact, Caroline, this is really important for schools and PTAs. Actually, you know, it's quite important. You know, if you're looking at a really expansive fundraising or broad fundraising, it's one thing to get the parents involved, you know, with raffle, you know, your typical raffle or auction or whatnot. But then why not get local businesses involved?
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah. And then the question is, what is that value exchange that you can provide the local businesses? Okay. So Catherine, I don't know if we've set up a membership page. Have you seen an example of that before?
Possibly. I mean, I've seen so many. Honestly, you've given me so many ideas. I don't know whether I'm coming or going sometimes. But let's go through one of those types of pages. I think
Okay.
it'd be very helpful.
So, Caroline and Catherine, when you log into the platform, so this is what your foster care charity looks like. If it's People's Fundraising, this is what you see in People's Fundraising, but People's Fundraising look and feel. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, I'm going to set up a membership page, but it's going to be a membership page specifically for enticing businesses into an engagement. Okay. And again, this can be used for PTAs, schools, but also for yourself, Catherine. Okay, so every page has a page name and page description. Also note on every single page, you can always ask for an optional donation as well. So that's when people buy raffle tickets or purchase an auction item or something like that. Okay, so we're going to create that. And then it's going to ask us to assign it to a campaign. Now, I think you should probably create a campaign which is, you know, company sponsorship or something like that as well. You want to really keep all the company stuff within a company area. And now this is where we start putting our membership. So this is where, as a school PTA, or Catherine, from your perspective, you need to try and understand what companies want. So the question is, what do they want? Okay. Now there's a couple of things that companies want, right? The first thing that companies want is there's a small amount of companies who maybe their directors or owners are just going to give you stuff for free without anything in return. Okay. That may be more the case with schools and PTAs. You know, so for example, I'm speaking to my school at the moment. I'm saying, well, you're not using us. You know, like I'm here for you, and like we could do some amazing fundraising. And so therefore, there are generally two things that companies want. One thing is recognition for what they're doing and their support. Now, the reason why they want recognition is not that they're narcissistic, but they want recognition for sentiment uplift with respect to their clients, employees, family, and friends. So if you've got a company who's doing amazing things for a local school or PTA, or you've got a company who's doing amazing things for the local foster care charity, you know, for the employees, that's a really good thing. It's like, well done, company. You just made me feel really good. Or the clients that, you know, you could have a business that supports, you know, a local ecosystem who's also supporting the local foster care charity. And it's like, great, you know, I love this company. You know, they give me a great product, but also they're supporting a really, really good service. Okay, so they want that recognition. So how can you give them that recognition? So let's do bronze. Right, so step one is social media mentions. So this is an easy one, right? You know, now social media mentions, I think for yourself, Catherine, is quite a strong proposition. And you could say maybe it's like £50 a month. There are only 100 of these. To a degree, you want to create value with scarcity as well. Yeah. So even from a school PTA perspective, Caroline, you could say, look, you know, we're doing something quite different this year. You know, for the school PTA, we're going to have two companies who are going to be like our headline companies. And every time we do an event, your name's going to be out there, you know, which is really good. Okay.
And actually, as the foster care charity, because we are looking to connect with people who might want to foster, as well as obviously fundraisers, we would look at sponsorship opportunities like that, where we could get our name in front of the school population.
Yeah. By the way, I was chatting to one of our community cinemas the other day, and we were talking about how to get involved. And what they're going to do is, I was thinking about foster care, is they're going to go out as a buy forward scheme, and they're going to have a shop whereby somebody can buy seats in the cinema, and those seats are going to go to their local foster care home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's why I can put you in touch with them actually.
Yeah. Where are they? What's the location?
I don't know, but it's Electric Palace Cinema.
Electric
I'll put you in touch with them afterwards. Okay, so I'm just going to create that, and so what I've done here, I've just created an initial bronze sponsorship, and therefore the value exchange, £50 a month, is social media mentions. Okay, and there are 100 of them, so that's good for a company. You know, they support you, and then when you do your social media mentions, you can mention them. But you can see how that's actually tangible.
Yeah.
So let's do silver. Now, what can you do? Give them for silver. You can give them a company fundraising wall, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. That's a little bit more. Let's copy this, update, gold, and this will be a company branded fundraising wall. Now I'm creating these quite quickly. Now the point of me creating them quite quickly is I'm showing you that you can create value really quickly. As long as you've got the idea, then it can be implemented, really quickly. Now we're going to do a platinum one. And this is going to be quite different. Sorry, I haven't been changing these, have I? This is visit from our CEO. Right, and that's going to be £1,500, and there's only going to be 10 of these. Right. Now, this is actually applicable, I think, to schools and PTAs as well. So the idea here is that maybe the CEO for £1,500 will go and visit the company and give a talk in terms of foster care. Now, the question for the company is, why is that useful? Well, that's useful because, again, you're creating that sentiment uplift. The company is supporting the foster care charity, and now the CEO is coming in and talking about it. But there could be other things the CEO could talk about as well, outside the context of just supporting the foster care charity. Now, the reason why we put it to 10 is that we have to be practical about this. Your CEO can't do many of these a month, but you also want to utilize them in the fundraising context. Okay, so now we can update to that. Now, if we now look at the associated membership page for this, so company sponsorship, this is important for a couple of reasons. On your website, when you've differentiated between individual, community, and company, when you're talking about the value exchange with the companies, you've now got a page where people can take an actual action to purchase something, and in one page they can see exactly what they're going to get, and in that page you've thought about exactly what you can offer as well. So it's all there. So this is great for the website integration, but when on YouTube and things like that, or not YouTube, Facebook and all of that, you're talking about, company sponsorship, you don't need to point anyone to your website anymore. You now point them to, you're talking about companies, you want to get involved, and you send them to the company membership page, and they can actually take the action. And this is what a lot of charities miss, actually, and schools and PTAs for that matter. They miss that place where a potential sponsor can take an actual action and give you that money. So you can set these up, you think about it, you set the strategy for the year, you set up all your sponsorships, the CEO's actually signed up to doing 10 a year, and then you start socializing it, and then I can come now and I can pay for this. I should have turned off the monthly one, which you can do, but I can come and pay for all of these as well, which is great. Okay. But we're going to flesh this out more at your fundraising accelerator. And again, the key thing we're going to do is we're going to differentiate between individual communities and companies and talk about all the different value exchange there is. Okay.
Yeah.
Just one last thing on this. We talked about the company fundraising wall. Now, the question is, what is this? Because you can understand what these are and you can understand what this is. But what's a company fundraising wall? So essentially it's a campaign wall that you utilize for companies. So if you see here, we've done one already, so for Village Hotels. So if we look at this is a wall that is specific to Village Hotels. Okay, and so in terms of that sentiment uplift, in terms of supporting a company with their CSR requirements, you've now given them a page whereby they can focus all of their CSR on here at the same time as having that association between yourselves and themselves for the sentiment uplift. So now what do they get? So they get that page for CSR and showing all the amazing things they're doing for you as well. But also it's a place where employees can come and set up any type of page to support you. And when they do that, this page will show all of the fundraisers on this page as well. So a lot of charities, what they do is they have the companies that are supporting them. I think you've got this at the bottom of your page.
No, they're not supporters. They're people that we are.
Oh, okay.
Members of. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But you understand the page I'm talking about is that see all of our supporters. Now, for maybe that's nice for the charity or the school or PTA, but it's not nice for the company. They want to be differentiated. They want to focus on them and their value exchange with respect to sentiment uplift. So this is where this stands out in itself. So each company you have a relationship now has either an unbranded or branded company fundraising wall where just they and their activity is highlighted, and that's the key thing. Now you may have another campaign that has all of the like company campaigns in it itself, but the key thing is as well, this is more valuable for the company compared to being on a page that has like 5, 6, 7 or 10 or so companies on it. Okay. But we're going to more about how companies can use this at the fundraising accelerator. Okay. So, I mean, there's loads we can talk about how you're going to integrate over time. But remember, there's integration into your website, but then there's how you use it when you're communicating over Facebook, Instagram, and things like that. And the primary thing just to note about communicating out is most of your supporters, you communicate via your social media channels. It's not via your website. Okay. So just say you're on Facebook. The key thing to note about Facebook is as you're communicating out, all of these super cool things, to introduce the relevant fundraising ask at the relevant time. So the place you're at now is as you're communicating these things out all the time, and you're pretty consistent, which is great. Sometimes you're going to ask for donations, other times you're going to say enter the raffle, other times you're going to say do you want to buy a ticket for something, other times you're going to say do you want to join the members lottery, other times you can talk about becoming a company sponsor, other times you can talk about other things as well. So you just got a lot more variety of that fundraising ask. And again, it's something that you will have, I'm sure you've got a team who specifically focus on these social media posts. You and them just need to be like this, essentially.
That's good, because it's me and one other person for a couple of hours a week.
Perfect.
So it's all very integrated as a role at the moment.
And that's how it should be. Communication and fundraising are the same thing, I always think, because what are you communicating if you're not asking for money as well? You're just telling everyone about all the amazing things you're doing. But you need to at the same time tell everyone about, but also generate income so you can do more of that great stuff. So we'll focus a lot on how you can do that. But going through the process of differentiating individual communities and companies on your website and how you rephrase it on your website will translate quite nicely to your storytelling, say over Facebook, and then introducing the relevant ask. So there'll be a stream of stories focused at companies. There'll be a stream of stories focused on communities. There'll be a stream of stories focused on individuals, and then you've got the relevant ask for those, all of them. You know?
Yeah, that's really helpful, because I can start playing with that. I call it the landing page for fundraising. I can start sorting out what that needs to say and how it breaks down. It has been a bit of a stumbling block for me right now to think it through. But we want to get everything connected.
Yeah. All right. Is that okay for the time being? I mean, we will go into more detail.
Yes. That's really, really helpful. Thank you. And just to think individual, community, company. That's very helpful.
Yeah. All right, Caroline, over to yourself. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm sorry. I just have to turn the fan off now. I'm quite new to this. I sort of set up our profile and I've done one raffle through it. I'm not very techie, so all the sort of setting up of how the page looks, I found quite hard. I've got a few questions. It was more to do with personalising the raffle page with our logo, because I've used other people's, I don't know how they'd set it up to look. I've just started doing a summer raffle, so I've started to sort of set that up and get that going. But it was just like how I get our photos on there, how I get our logo on there. I've kept it quite basic because our school is quite different to a lot of other schools in that we're a special needs school. We're the severe end of special needs. So a lot of our parents also have special needs. So we have a very small PTFA, hence part of my 12 hours of school fundraiser is spent sort of managing them and helping them. So doing all this sort of stuff, I've set it up for them. So hopefully it'll be ready to go and they'll find it a bit more straightforward than me. But they really only do raffles. They go to some events in the community. So it's how to utilise your platform to their best advantage, I suppose. And what they use their fundraising money for is to buy equipment and experiences for the students. So we've bought VR headsets in the past. We make sure every child has got a Christmas present at Christmas. We pay for things like travelling pantomimes to come in, that sort of thing. So it's much smaller scale than Catherine's charity. That's not to say that it can't be utilised to the same sort of effect, but it's working out, because I just set the profile up in a very basic way, and then I did a very basic raffle, and that is all I've done. I haven't had any one-to-ones or anything like that. I didn't set up a book. I didn't book in with you guys, which I probably should have done, but I was a bit up against it. So I started, right, okay, I've got to get this done. I'm feeling like that again for the summer raffle. We've just got to get it done, but it's working out how to use it, and so it's working fully for them.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for that. So you've given me, as you're talking, there's lots of really good potential ways to just extend the fundraising outside of raffle, but also to make things, I think, easier for yourself as well.
Good.
Right? So what I'll do, let me sign in, and I'll sign into your accounts.
Lovely. Thank you.
Set things up as we go along. So what's the organisation name?
QE2 School. So QE with II. I think it's QE II School. Let me have a look. I can't remember what I've set it up as. Yeah, QE2 PTFA, I think.
It wasn't. So it's not that. Sorry, what's the QE bit?
QE and then II.
Oh, right. Okay.
Roman numerals.
There we go. Right. Got it.
With a Queen Elizabeth II Silver Jubilee School.
Good. Right. Okay.
Where are you based, Caroline?
We're in Horsham in West Sussex.
Ah, okay.
Whereabouts are you, Catherine?
Our head office is in Malvern in Worcestershire.
Okay, so you're a bit away from us.
Yeah, we cover sort of everything, I'll say north of London and south of Leeds.
Okay, so not quite the same area, but we have kind of some similarities. That a lot of our students are in care, they're fostered.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
We have a lot of special needs, a lot of trauma, therapy that we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we work with lots of local authorities. So
good. Yes. We are a local authority funded school, but we also have our own charity as well as the PTFA have their own charity. So sort of juggling multiple balls, as all fundraisers seem to do these days.
They have to.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so let's look at your control panel and see the different things we can do.
Right.
By the way, so People's Fundraising is an amazing platform just because there's so much you can do on it. But however, that's the Achilles heel. There's so much, and then sometimes people are like, okay,
It's too much.
Yeah, there's
It's
so much.
too much for me. I was like, oh, no, I can't do this.
But in defense of the poor platform, it's like once you can set up one thing, setting up everything else is roughly the same structure.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
So what I'll do first, I'll just check out your raffle.
I have partly set it up.
Okay, let's have a look. Is it this
one? Yeah.
Okay, right. The first thing you need to do is assign a campaign to it. So we're going to change the campaign.
What does that mean?
So a campaign is an area of fundraising focus. So, for example, in Catherine's example,
what we're fundraising for.
That's right, yeah. So in Catherine's example, it could have been a foster care region, or in your example, there's always one default campaign, and that's the name of the organisation itself. But we always say create more campaigns, so that the campaign could be, for example, we are raising money for new equipment for the playground, or we're raising money for books for the library.
Right. Okay.
And then once you create your campaign, then you create different fundraising pages to support the campaign, or you can say have a raffle that supports multiple campaigns. And then not only do you give people the option about how they want to fundraise for you, it could be a donation, could be a raffle, could be an auction, could be a members lottery, could be a shop, for example. But you also give them choice about what campaign they support, and the more choice you give people, the more money you get.
Brilliant. Okay.
Right? So
I think what we would be fundraising for. Like, obviously, there's always going to be the general fundraising. Let me think.
Okay.
What we've been using money for.
Yeah.
Allotment. We're funding an allotment.
All right. Okay. So before we get into the raffle, then I'll just show you how to do the campaigns. It's really, really easy. You go to campaigns, and then you create a campaign. Okay. And then a campaign's got a name and description. So what would the allotment be then? So we're raising money for an allotment, or
it's the QE2 school community allotment. I think we can call it. I suppose we could change the name at a date to date, can we?
You can change it. So what do you want it then?
QE2. So QEII.
Just say.
Yeah. QE.
Yeah, you need an E.
You've put Q122. We can get rid of the 2.
Okay, I'm gonna get used to that now. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, a community allotment fundraiser. QE2 school maybe. Because it's within our school grounds, and we want to create this allotment that our neighbours can come in and use, and people can grow their own veg and take it away. But it's also teaching our students from sort of ground to plate.
Right, so everything you said then, by the way, was perfect, and that's exactly what you're writing in the description. Okay, I mean that's wonderful wording, because it's exact, precise, and it's like. And can you see, by the way, as soon as you describe what you're fundraising for, it's interesting, as opposed to just generically, QE2. It's like, that sounds really.
People want to know what their money's going towards, don't they? Instead of just we're just putting it in the pot.
Yeah. Now, you always go to you want to, and you can put your own social media hook. So maybe there's an X channel or YouTube channel specifically for this. But then you go to campaign wall. Now, a campaign doesn't necessarily have its own campaign wall, but in this case, you want it to have your own campaign wall, and that's therefore its own area that talks, and it will show all the pages associated to it. Right. So if you click Help About and then Set Defaults, it will just set some defaults like the campaign name. And it will set up that it will give its own dedicated donation page as well, which is what you want, right?
That's great.
Now, have you got a specific target?
No, I don't know. We don't know how much the wood's going to cost. We don't know if we're getting it donated, how much topsoil is. I've no idea. I'd say £1,000.
Yeah. So think about this, because remember, the more information you give people, the more the more you'll contribute. So, for example, if you don't put a target, then if I'm a fundraiser, how do I, or if I want to donate, how much do I want to
Yeah,
donate?
that's a good
But
point.
yeah, but if you got like a target, I'm donating, it's like, okay, you're £1,000 away. I'm going to give you that £1,000.
Yeah.
Okay, and you may have raised stuff offline as well. So
Yeah.
I'm now going to create this, and
Yeah, we've
so
got the stuff from our last people fundraising raffle, which was just short of £400. So we've got a little bit of money to go in it.
oh, good, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what I've created another campaign, but importantly, I've got, and again, you can change the look and feel of this. I've got a specific area, which is
Lovely. Okay.
QE2 Community Allotment Fundraiser, and
Mhm.
it obviously talks about it, but it
Yeah.
will talk about all the different fundraisers that are set up to support this.
Gosh, there's a lot on that page. Presumably you could take a lot of those boxes off, can you?
Yes, you can. So
Good.
great point. So if we come back to this view, update, delete campaign page, I can configure the wall or create launch page messages. Creating a
Lovely.
launch page message is adding your own content. Could be YouTube video, image carousel to the page. Configuring the wall allows you to turn off and on all of those things you see. So if I clear everything and update
Mm-hmm.
and then refresh it, it's got nothing here. Can you see?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back here. I'm going to put a theme on it.
That's what I couldn't get. I just used someone else's theme. I presume they were just sort of like generic themes.
Yeah, we'll come back then in a minute. But what's
Good.
the closest color?
We're sort of blue and yellow. Blue mainly.
Okay, let's do
Pale
it.
blue.
Okay, light blue then. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do that, and then we're going to put some of these on. So the total, who it's supporting,
Yeah.
the number of supporters, appeals, messages, QR codes. We want to display donation pages, fundraisers, raffles, tombola. So you just select the things you want
Yeah.
to essentially appear. Now, by the way, in these, essentially say do you want to display any donation pages? Yes, no. Do you want to display the donations made to the pages? Do you want to display the total generated on the pages? Do you want to display that somebody can create their own donation page? And in this case, you want to create in memory. So these categories are the same going down. Yeah. So, for
Okay.
example, do I want to display the fundraising pages? Yes. Do I want people to create their own? Yes. Let's just say yes to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if I update that now, we're blue
Oh, lovely. Look
because
at
I've
that.
changed the theme, and also I've reduced all the content on it.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I've got a give now. I can go and make a donation specifically to this.
Mm-hmm.
Or as you create your other pages, like raffles, auctions, they will also appear here as well.
Lovely.
All right.
That's great. Yeah.
So always think about campaigns. So Catherine, you
Okay.
can imagine. Yeah, Catherine, you can imagine every single location's got its own campaign.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to be busy, Catherine.
Yeah, she's gonna be super busy. Right. Okay. So let's go back to the raffle then, because one of the things in the raffle we wanted to do was we wanted to change the campaign. Okay. So
Yeah.
now you could say the raffle is supporting the
The
allotment,
allotment.
but
Yeah.
it's also supporting something else, right? So what we're going to do is we're gonna say 50% goes to the allotment.
Okay.
And we're going to say 50% goes to general. I think there's a
Yeah.
bug in this actually.
Lovely. Oh, 150%.
Yeah, I actually think
Have we
there's
got two allotments?
no. Right, so I need to take off one of these, delete that. I think that'll be okay now. Oh, 50%, what's going on?
You've got the
Yeah.
allotments on there twice.
Okay, let's delete that. It's that one, isn't it? Yeah, delete that, good. Right, so now, so when somebody makes purchases from the raffle, you've told them that 50% is going to go to the allotment and 50% is general,
Yep.
right? So
Lovely.
if I now press continue, but if I now go back to the campaign page itself, boop, right, because I've allocated 50%, that raffle page is now going to appear here. Can you see?
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this will also appear on the other one as on the other wall as well. And so, if people, there's going to be a subset of people who just really care about the allotments, and so this is where you send them. How do I support the allotment as opposed to generic? So can you see? Yeah, can you
Yeah.
see how that works? Right.
Yes.
All right. So let's go back to the raffle page and see how you've done there. Boop. Right. I mean, this is one of the most popular themes, by the way, and it's nice.
I like it. But I would like to. Oh, there we go. We've got the logo on there. It didn't show up yesterday. I don't know if it was playing silly buggers, but that's our logo.
Yeah.
So I've got lots of generic school pictures I could add in and things like that.
So just a note on this: people don't read anything.
Do they not? Okay.
Not at all. So this is actually quite a nice amount of wording. I wouldn't put too much on there.
Okay.
Because and the reason why is, look, it's telling people what it is already. It's a summer raffle, and you're going to have your prizes on here, and people are going to. I know it's a summer raffle. I want to purchase something. How much is a ticket? It's £1. Let me purchase, and that's it. A
Yeah.
lot of the time they don't read this content, but I think you've done a really good job with not putting too much text on.
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
When I did the last one, I put all the prizes in, and I thought, because I'd written in the heading first prize, I thought they'd appear in order. They didn't. I had to go back in and put A dash and then that, and then B. Is there a more simple way of making sure the prizes are like, because I took a picture of every single prize so that there's, is there an easier way to do that, or is that how I have to do it?
Yeah, so prizes are ordered alphanumerically because if the system draws, there's no concept of first prize because it draws everything randomly. You may think there's a first prize, there could be a highlight prize, but yeah, you just need to know that everything's alphanumeric. So one of the things you haven't got on your page are the prizes.
No, because I'm still sorting them out.
Yeah. And by the way, by the way, here's a nice thing, right? And so when you set up your raffle, it's quite, just say you've got 5 prizes, but there may be some more in the future. Okay. Maybe they're your main prizes though. So set up your raffle, start socializing with the 5 prizes, but then say more prizes are coming. And then as you get more prizes, you add them to your page. Now, what that does is that not only gets people interested sooner than later because you're socializing before you've got all your prizes, but it gives you an opportunity to go out to your supporter base, a legitimate reason to go out to your supporter base and say, hey, remember me? We're doing the raffle. We've got another prize. So it generates the interest. It's another touch point. So don't think you need all of your prizes before you set up your raffle. All right?
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you.
But if I'm going to add a prize, you just click add and just say you do 01. I don't. What would a prize be?
I've got a Kindle Fire, I think, as my main, or an Amazon, some sort of Amazon tablet coming.
Kindle Fire. Okay.
Yeah. And then I wanted to have a picture. I could get a generic picture, I suppose.
That's right. So you just go to the image tab and put them in.
Find one.
You specify how many of them are there.
Yes.
So if you had 3 Kindle Fires, you put 3, right?
Right. There is something I've got 3 of actually.
Okay, cool.
Gift vouchers. So yeah, that'd be great.
And so that will be updated, and then you just keep on copying.
Do I delete all these other ones, or are they won't show up on there? Now that I've drawn that raffle, do I just delete them or leave them?
It's up to you. So sometimes it's good to keep the old raffle because people like to see what you've done in the past.
Okay. Well, and also
Yeah.
it reminds me what I've had and who I've been and
Yeah.
got prizes from. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Um,
Presumably that page stays there. That previous raffle will still be.
It does. It stays there, and it stays there until you've deleted it, or until you delete it. So yeah, this
Yeah.
will
Okay. That's quite
this will
handy.
stay around,
Yeah.
forever until you delete
Look,
it.
I took all these lovely photos of everything. God, it took me hours. I nearly threw my laptop out the window. I just found it. This is so out of my comfort zone doing this stuff. I'm a people person. I'll go and get the prizes, doing the computer stuff. Nightmare.
Yeah, it wasn't okay. It wasn't. Surely it wasn't that hard. But anyway,
I found
but
it quite hard, but that's probably just me.
yeah. So what you've done here is really good, though. And so I think the time it took you was because the amount of effort you've done to take the photos and to put all of these in. So, you know, well, I mean, this is a really, really good example. And by the way, I'm glad this is being recorded because people will see your raffle and see that this is a really good example of a raffle.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe too many words there, but
Yeah.
you got some nice images here. You know, and you've taken the time to describe these really nicely, and it's a beautiful raffle. So well done, well done.
Thank you.
But yeah, keep this around because people can see a history of this and what's been what
Yes,
you've
and I suppose that adds legitimacy to what you're doing, doesn't it? That you've got a history of having done all this stuff. So
yeah.
lovely. Thank
Okay,
you.
so that's your raffle. Any other? Or actually, let me just check.
Yes, I did have another question.
Oh, by the way, you need to always link the optional donation page to it.
Okay.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
you haven't, for some reason, you've either deleted your generic donation page. So maybe create another generic donation page and
Okay.
and and link it as well.
Is
So
that as a campaign
um,
or just as a page?
so go to donations on the right hand side.
Right.
Create a donation page, and yeah, just create a generic one, and then when you do your raffles or sell tickets for events, when somebody's purchasing, they can make an optional donation.
Okay.
Okay.
Lovely. So has that just got basic information about who we are, a few pictures, that sort of thing, what the money goes towards?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, by the way, another thing to note on this is the reason why you want to do optional donations is if I want to give more, but you're stopping me from doing it, I can't do it. So you're giving somebody the
Yeah, that's
option
a very good point.
to give more. But the other thing here is fundraising is about developing relationship and keeping the interaction over time, right? So one mistake that some charities make or schools PTAs is they put a really high number here, which is what you've done. Now the problem with this is, just say you do like 3 fundraisers in a year. Okay, there are going to be some parents who can only pay £1, and there are going to be some parents who can pay £200. So what people are going to realise is the more you pay, the more chance you've got of winning. And so the people who can only pay £1, over time they may stop playing because there's no possibility of winning because a few parents are paying £200. Right. So what you do then, you change this to something smaller. And I'm not saying it is £10, but I'm just saying, just think about it. Right. But
Right.
then this is why you link an optional donation page to it, because that means that the people who can pay £1 will continually play your raffle over time because you've restricted the people who want to pay a lot more to only say £10, right? So you're keeping the people who can only pay a little bit over time, but also the people who want to give more, you're stopping them from doing it by buying lots of raffle tickets, but they will still give you that money via an optional donation.
Okay.
So you're actually winning from people who want to give a lot and people who can only give a small amount. You're winning by restricting the number of raffle tickets.
Okay.
Strangely enough, right?
Yeah.
But it's it's good psychology.
Okay.
But yeah, you've done it well. Now coming back to the theme. So we can create another theme for you, but it has to be generic, such that other organisations can use it. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Now, there's two reasons for that. The first reason is we did used to have a thing whereby anyone could have their own theme, but then we had like 10 requests a day for themes, and so that's all we were doing themes. And the other thing as well is, you know, we also have a fully branded platform as well, so that's the other reason for it. Okay, so if you would like a theme, just send us over maybe any image assets like a header. Tell us what colors you want. Tell us what fonts you want, and then we'll implement it for you. Okay.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Okay. I'll talk to my tech guy and get some of that. Make sure I've got it right. So that'd be really nice. It uniforms. It makes everything uniform, doesn't it? Though I suppose then if I'm, you know, able to do my QE2 one every single time, if I'm doing 3 raffles a year and goodness knows what else, it just saves me scrolling through that and do I do this? Do I do that? So then you've got too many options, haven't you? And it's still more time. But yeah, no, that's fantastic.
By the way, so it can't be a QE2 one.
Okay.
But it can't be a QE2 one because remember it needs to be the imagery needs to be generic. So other charities, but it can reflect as much as possible your, you know, school's PTA's branding. Okay, without the actual logos and whatnot on it. Okay, right.
The other thing I wanted to know was, can I put a donate button on our Facebook page? Because we don't have a website, we have a Facebook page, and that's it.
Yeah, totally. So if you look at the donation pages you've got the one for the allotment fundraiser, so that we just created that with the campaign. Just create another one, and then what you do is you take this link and you just paste it into Facebook, right?
Okay, lovely.
Just like you'll take the link to the raffle page and you'll paste in Facebook.
Yeah.
Right?
And does it create something nice when I paste it on there?
Yeah. So what it generally does is, whatever image is within the about box, it will put the image on there, and also it will put the description on within Facebook as well.
Okay.
All right.
Exciting. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, so I know we've got 5 minutes left. So there's a couple of other things as you're talking I think will be really good for you. Sorry about the dog.
It's all right. I've got 2 myself. On the sleep.
Right. So the first thing is, I think you'll do really well with the members lottery.
Right.
Okay. Now, what a members lottery is, it's like a raffle, but it continues into the future. And instead of people paying with debit credit card, they pay with direct debit.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. We thought about doing something like a 100 club or something like that, but that might be more straightforward.
Well, a members lottery is roughly like a 100
Same
club,
thing, yeah.
but it's more flexible. And essentially, you set up a members lottery page, and generally the prize is, say, 30% of the prize winnings, something like that, right? So set that up, and therefore, you know, I was talking about the work you put in. It's less work because you set up the members lottery once. And then the only thing you need to do is pay out the money. So we pay you the money, and then you have to transfer whatever prizes. But if we look at some examples of members lotteries, they're really, really good. And by the way, members lottery, and Catherine, you need to know this as well, is fast outpacing the regular donation ask.
Really? Well, I suppose it's a game, isn't it? People like the idea that they might win something.
That's right. Yeah,
I do. I play one of our local community lotteries, and our school is part of one of the local community lotteries. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And by the way, the school mistake people make is, if it's one of these local lotteries where you can win £20,000 or something, engagement's gonna drop off over the time, because people don't know anyone who's won, because it's such a wide audience. And the school hardly wins anything. So with the members lottery, because it's just your community, right? So here's a couple. This is quite cute, isn't it? Whatever this is. Can you see, like, 50% of prize pot and stuff like that? Because it's just your community who are doing it. Everyone knows somebody who's won something. And that's the key thing. So although the first prize may not be £25,000, maybe, you know, 30% of the prize winnings is £300, because it's your local community, just say a couple of hundred people get excited because everyone knows who's won, and therefore it sort of, you know, rolls, it sort of snowballs, essentially.
And it's one of those things that grow over time as well, isn't it? And you don't have to buy prizes, or you don't have to find prizes, because it's self-generating.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So, okay, I was going to go into shops, but that unfortunately that needs to wait for the next Q&A, unfortunately. or
Okay.
Caroline, if you want a one-to-one catch up, just let us know and we can.
Okay, I will. That's great.
All right. So
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Thanks very much for the first Q&A session. Hopefully that's been useful. It's been really
Very
nice,
useful.
yeah, to talk through things. And yeah, we're always here. Any questions,
Lovely.
just let us know, Caroline and Catherine.
Yes,
All right.
I have. When I was setting up the raffle, I had to keep emailing, and I was very impressed actually the speed that someone got back to me. So I was thankful for that. So thank you, guys.
Oh, good. Yeah, we try to be responsive, on the emails. So,
Yeah,
all right.
there's so much opportunity, but it just takes a while to get,
You've got to get your head around
up
it.
to speed with all the options. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Once you've done it a couple of times, it'll start to feel more.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
Thank
thank
you
you very much, and yeah, we're always here. Catch you again. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.